Hello world, it is Wednesday, December 23rd, and it's kind of partly cloudy out there, trying to clear up a little bit, trying to be a nice day today. And I understand it may be near 50, but kind of windy. And then by Friday, the high is going to be 20. So if you want to get outside and enjoy God's creation a little, today might be the better day to do it, or at least the warmer day. Today's devotion is written by Kaji Dosha, and it is entitled The Prophet Mary. Kaji bases the devotion upon the Gospel of Luke, chapter 1, verse 52, New International Version. Excuse me. God has brought down rulers from their thrones, but has lifted up the humble. And Kaji writes, before the angel Gabriel, Mary has words, strong words, prophetic words, because we do realize this was a prophecy. Reflecting on what God has done with the announcement of this child she will bear, Mary has a vision. But the road towards it will be perilous. The ruler on the throne sitting above her will soon persecute her family. He will force them out of the country in hot pursuit of Jesus. The king will round up all the male children under 2 years old, and he will massacre these innocent children, babies. No doubt the prophet Mary sees the king's potential to do a horrific thing, even when the angel visits her months before. Prophets see into the future and proclaim God's will. Would that it doesn't take millennia to realize it. And the prayer. Our soul magnifies you, O God. May we heed the words of the prophets of yesterday, today, and tomorrow. This devotion reminds me of a few things. One is how much of the Bible and Jesus' teaching is really centered around not the powerful, not the rich, but those at the margins of society, those neglected by society, those oppressed by the rich. And somehow, I guess I have my own theories that when the Roman Emperor Constantine made Christianity a state religion, it really impacted the interpretation of who Jesus was and what he was for. And I'm not saying anything against Jesus dying for our sins, or salvation through Christ and that sort of thing. I'm not saying anything against that, but it seems certainly to me that the emphasis shifted when those with power and authority and wealth adopted or co-opted Christianity as their own religion. It seemed to shift course, because if you really read carefully in the Bible, time and time again, there's discussions about imbalance in sharing the resources of creation. There's injunctions against loving money. I mean, Jesus himself is quoted as saying in the Gospels that the love of money is the root of all evil. He doesn't really say money itself is the root of all evil, but the love of money. And that is something that has stood fast throughout the ages, that the biggest problems we've had in society have come from the inequities created by those who love money. Yes, it also makes me think that one of the issues is that sometimes it's not so much about money, or maybe it is, I'm not sure, but those who love power. I remember talking to someone once about how much money CEOs make, and I wondered, well, how much is enough? Because back, like when I was born, I think the ratio was something like 40-1 in terms of what CEOs made compared to the average worker in their companies. I don't know what it is currently, but probably 15, 20 years ago, it was something like 400-1. I'm sure it's even higher than that. And I just thought, well, how much is enough? I mean, at some point, no matter, you can make so much money, you can't possibly do anything with it other than accumulate it and pass it on to your progeny. And this person I was talking to said, well, at some point it's not actually about the money. It's about ego. It's about power. That's really what it comes down to. Is it builds people up in their own eyes, I guess. I don't think I'm ever going to have that problem being so enamored with money and wealth, or have an issue with an ego propping me up. But really, in the biblical stories, that's oftentimes what the prophets are talking about, is they're pointing out the inequity in life, warning the people that if things don't change, problems can arise. And that's really what we've seen over time. Eventually it reaches a breaking point, and I hope we can come to our senses at some point and realize that things do need to change. And we really should be working towards a world in which everyone has abundant life. Doesn't mean that everyone has the same, but everybody has at least what they need. That's really what we ought to be working toward. I guess maybe that's a good message for Christmas too, as we're coming up on it. Making sure that everyone has what they need. So think about that. Think about that as these new stimulus checks are coming out from the government. There's some push to make them higher, but in some cases, I know myself, I don't need the money. I'm doing okay. I haven't been too negatively impacted, especially financially, by the pandemic. So I'm going to be thinking hard about what I can do with that to get it into the hands of people who really have been impacted. Because getting it to them means it will be spent and it will stimulate the economy, rather than just going into a bank account or an investment account that those who are comfortable will probably do with the money. So anyway, that's my thoughts for the day. Hope you have a good day, and I will talk to you again tomorrow. And tomorrow is Christmas Eve. And don't forget, if you are watching, there will be a Facebook post for St. John United Church of Christ for a Christmas Eve service at 7 o'clock. And that's St. John UCC of Defiance on Facebook. And they're also on our YouTube channel. It will also premiere. And if you want to, I will be sending out a link to those who are on our email blast list. And if you'd like to be added to that list, you can email me your email address. And my church email is St. John, STJOHN, UCC, Pastor, PASTOR, @gmail.com. So send me your contact and I will add you to our constant contact list, and you will get our email blasts from the church, including links to our services that are remote. Take care, and I will talk to you tomorrow.